Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hello. Hello.
This time I actually pressed live twice. It's amazing how that happens. So, wow. Okay, so please welcome Chris from Barely Balanced Tarot for our magic tool talk. And this time we are talking about, where are the banners? Talking about the 4 pillars of the Magus. So there you go. All right. So how have you been, Chris? As of course my timing is impeccable. I actually start while you're taking a drink.
It's
So
okay. I'm doing
it's a
okay.
skill.
Most people know my mom's been in the hospital with not COVID, but she's gone through everything that people have gone through with COVID. She's
Mm.
doing much better now. I've been a little sick myself, so I haven't been able to see her, um,
Oh no.
but she's doing much better. So much relief that she's doing
Very
much better.
good. Very good. Okay, I just got the notice popped. So that's a good thing. And there we are. Thank you, Jamie. So um okay, so let's say hi to some people. How's that sound, Chris?
Sounds good.
All right. Sharon Sipe was here. Hello, Sharon. And then Tangi. Hello, hello. Tangi is in and out for this live. Pepper Jackie is here. Hello, Pepper.
Giddy with laughter
Uh,
already and exhausted.
you know what? It could be from yesterday's channelversary, which there were so many people there, and it was so much fun. So thank you for everybody who showed up. That was
I don't know.
wonderful.
Couldn't stop talking about strip dancing and greased poles and giant logs and wands and
There were many
just how
things that we couldn't stop
our
talking about.
conversations go. But
Yeah. Mel is here and she's looking forward to this. It's a great topic. And by the way, I believe Mel is doing a story time tomorrow night at 11. Is that correct, Mel? 11 p.m. Eastern on the Woolly Hermit. So, plug, plug, plug. So, oh, Jamie is here. Hello.
hey, Jamie, I
So,
miss you. I haven't seen you in a while or talked to you in a while,
there.
and I
Well,
almost totally missed Oracle class yesterday, or would have gotten to talk to you then.
was it yesterday or was it Saturday?
Saturday.
Because today's
Saturday. Yes,
Tuesday.
today is Tuesday, so it was Saturday. My gosh. Yep. This is how my brain's functioning right now. So.
Okay. Well, shameless plug. You can see Jamie, Jen, and me tonight at 9. It's 9 p.m. Eastern, I believe, where we're doing a. Is it 9 p.m.? It's either 9. Yeah, I think it's 9 p.m. Where we're doing a VR to the seven decks for deadly sins.
Oh, I think
Some,
somebody mentioned that yesterday. That sounds fun.
of course, I
Is that
did,
gonna is
and
that gonna be on your channel?
yes.
Okay.
So you're probably not getting your Jamie and Jen fix. So there you go. Rosemary is here. Hello, Rosemary. Have you
Sunflower.
subscribed to Good Journeys Tarot yet, Chris?
I don't think so. Let me
Rosemary
see.
is doing 78 cards in 78 weeks.
Mm. Somebody mentioned
So,
that in chat yesterday, or you did.
yep,
Somebody.
I probably did. Totally.
You were
I'm
plugging
just
a bunch of people yesterday. You're the
well,
best host.
yes.
You're the best host ever. You are.
Well, thank you. But there's so much good stuff out there, and I love being able to connect people. So I think that's wonderful.
I
So
just need to quit watching shows on TV and just catch up on tarot first.
you actually watch you watch TV? What? There's
Yeah,
so much
I
out there. Oh
do.
my gosh.
So many
So
shows.
yeah. So Deb is here. Hello. It's lovely to see you.
Purple Elephant.
Pepper. Purple Elephant. Yes, Purple Elephant is new to my channel, so I am so glad to have you here. And Michelle My Bell is here, so thank you. Ack is here, listening in. So Heather is here. Hi, Heather. Zane is here, and Zane, I will be in touch with you about perhaps talking about a particular topic that you enjoy, maybe with me and Chris. So, Deanne is here. Hello, Deanne.
Thank you.
Um, I'm sure mine popped 30 minutes ago. Is that her notification? Oh, yes, that's the,
Oh,
the early notification.
yeah.
So, Ron, Unconditional Love is here. Hello, Ron. Nice to see you. Um, so that's lovely. Okay, yes. Mel's thing is tomorrow. It's late, so it's good. So do that. Um, getting in. You know what? Hang on just a second. I'm going to adjust my so I can see a little bit my brightness. So, I love it. Jamie's like, Mr. Chris, we can fix this. So, yep, 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you. 6 p.m. Pacific. Beth is here. Hello. A VR is a video response. Someone will post a hashtag and people can give their response to that hashtag in their own video. And Heather, it's a beautiful way to get to know and to get exposure to new decks. The last one that Jamie and I did, which is quickly becoming one of the most watched videos on my channel, was hashtag only 10 decks. So um, coffee bean. Okay, I'm just going through. Oh, there's lovely people here. Gosh. Um, Tony, I already said Tony. Okay, wow.
Hey, Tony.
Oh,
No.
Tony. I wasn't thinking that. Chris
we
was,
are
but I was not.
already we were already off off the rails.
We are not, Ben is not here, so we're allowed to say the word wand. Right? Ooh, my howdy is upside down. So, okay. So, yeah, TBR. So, okay. So, Chris, we are talking about the 4 pillars of the Magus. Terrastash is a walking, talking, spiritual, magical community billboard. No one promotes you, embraces you, and sachets you like him. Well,
All very true.
yes. Anyhow, so yeah, so but this was one of the things that when Chris and I got together to think about this, back in God, it's almost been what, almost, well, 6-8 months.
At least I think.
Yeah. But we actually have, and I of course still have my notes. And so this topic of the 4 pillars of the Magus, we're here. Did you want to read something about it, Chris, or anything else, or should I just post the banners? And
I think we can wait for the questions because one of the first questions is what is, yes, there we are. So I can read.
there you go.
I
Yeah.
did just a smidge of research, like
Go for
20 minutes, like 20 minutes.
Okay. So what are
Maybe less than
the
that.
4 pillars?
All right. So, they first came into the esoteric occult community through Eliphas Levi. I always say these names in my head. I don't ever say them out loud. Eliphas Levi.
It's okay.
His name, right?
Yep. That's what I get.
Actually, he mentions them in 2 books: Transcendental Magic in 1896, and nope, that's a different person. No, but there were 2 books that he mentioned them in. So late 1800s, maybe as early as 1875. I thought I saw in one of the other things. Maybe that was the first book he mentioned it in. But he writes, to attain to sanctum regnum, in other words, the knowledge and power of the Magi, there are 4 indispensable conditions: an intelligence illuminated by study, that would be to know;
Mm-hmm.
And intrepidity, which nothing can check. That would be
Mm-hmm.
to dare. A will, which cannot be broken, which is the will. And a prudence, which nothing can corrupt and nothing intoxicate, which is silence. To know, to dare, to will, to keep silence. Search are the 4 words of the Magus inscribed upon the 4 symbolical forms of the Sphinx, which I've never heard.
Mm-hmm.
They're also called different things. I actually learned them as the witch's pyramid. Um,
Okay.
in which case you imagine the 4 pillars as a square,
Uh-huh.
and together they come up to make a pyramid at the top.
Uh-huh.
And apparently Crowley, because the Golden Dawn fully adopted the 4 pillars, he added to go as the top of the pyramid.
Right.
But you could
Right.
also express that then as a pentagram as well, because you have the 4 points and then the fifth. I had never heard of a fifth one, and I don't know that it stuck. I don't know that stuck.
Yeah. Well, and Mel asked a great question. Is this RWS or Thoth? And it's high magic or ceremonial magic or esoteric magic, not specific to RWS or Thoth. Um, it is more related to the Golden Dawn, so the Thoth would be associated with that. But it's more an approach to ceremonial magic, and it has lots of esoteric traditions about it. So, would
Yeah,
you
that's
add
not
anything else
something.
to that?
I would just say that's not something really specifically related to tarot or tarot system. Although RWS with Golden Dawn and Talk with Crowley, at least in Crowley's deck, I'm sure he incorporated that into the creation of the deck. But I've never
Uh-huh.
heard any mention specifically of those with tarot. Now, you and I just discovered that Benabel Wynn apparently has had a class coming up on the 4 pillars and tarot. So, I mean,
Benabel has a class available, and if I can post it, can I post it? Um, Hang on, I'll see if I could do this. Maybe. Maybe. Oh shoot, I can't. Okay, let me try this. See if I could. Oh, damn it, I went sideways.
don't you hate it when that happens?
Yes.
Hate it
There's
when I go
information
sideways.
about her class, and so let me see if I can make me not sideways. Good God, really? Oh my gosh. All right, I'll be right back.
Oh, hello. I can see all my junk over here. I've got bags for days. Um, I never know what to say when Gerald goes away. Someone
Well,
mentioned the K and magic earlier. I just caught a conversation. No, you're still sideways.
I am still sideways. All
I'll
right,
talk
I'll go
about.
out and come back in.
I'll talk
Talk
about.
amongst yourselves.
I'll talk about the K and magic. Not that I know anything about it, but I saw something in the discussion. Um,
Okay, I'll be right back.
all right. I forget. I don't know who was talking about it. Uh, Tony, did you say it was Gerald Gardner that added the K for numerology reasons? I don't know what the I don't know the history of adding the K to magic. I never used it. I know in the 80s at least it became kind of popular. I heard it was to distinguish between magic as in like magic tricks and card tricks and magic as in magic esoteric stuff, but I've never added the K. Some people do, some people don't. They were
Somebody
actually
asked if they should add the K or
I
not.
think they were just asking about the K on the end of when people write
Oh,
magic with the K at the end.
okay. All right. Let's say hi to a few people who have popped in. So, and I saw Stephen here, Stephen Palmer. Hello. Um, and Jonathan is here. Hello.
Hey, Jonathan.
Deanne, I think I said hi. Joe G is here. Hello. And the to go happens only when the other 4 are harnessed. The to go represents the element of spirit.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how I see it, because while in my personal practices and my experience, we recognize the four directions, but we also recognize five elements. So there's yes, Stephen, that is well said. Thank you. And Jen is here, so again, you'll see Jen and Jamie and I later. So Tony said I was reading Doreen Valentine's is it Valentine? Valiente book
Valiente.
earlier, and she said the K was added to Magic by Gardner for numerology purposes. So it's a new thing. Could be,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's definitely a modern
yeah,
convention.
definitely.
Not one I really like.
Oh, you don't?
I just spell magic with a C.
Oh, wait a minute. Rosemary took that class. Give us the dirt. How was it? Book M Liber Mundi focuses on this topic. I am writing this down. Sorry, I have to write this down because if I don't, I will miss it. Um, book. Sorry. See, I'm all learning. Thank you. This is great. Um, Rosemary said it's time to revisit it. So, oh, and Tony did say it makes it a 6 when you add that. So,
Magick. Yep.
okay. So, Regina is here. Hello, Regina. I know you were working, so thanks for dropping in. So, Rosemary said, it isn't my favorite course of hers, but I need to revisit it. So I get that. And I understand that. So, Chris, well, okay, wait a minute. To know, to dare, to will, to keep silent. Um, how did you learn about them and why are they important to you?
Um, I probably first learned about them in one of my early books on witchcraft or magic, and in my first coven, it was something talked about, but it was never something like really incorporated into our practices or anything like that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's been true for me since then. I mean, I've known of the four pillars. Um, I don't necessarily incorporate them into my practice or like think about them when I'm doing a working or something like that. But I'm not sure. It's kind of like a for me. It's just a kind of a foundational thing. And
Uh-huh.
there are times when I feel like, oh, this is a time when I need to dare, or this is a time when I need to keep silent. So there's sort of like these
Right.
four guidelines of magic, sort of in the back of my head, but they're not a conscious, integral part of my practice. But I could pick
Mm-hmm.
out things that I do and say, you know, I'm reading this book on learning a new technique or doing this or that. That's to know. If I'm scouting for a crossroads in the middle of Alabama somewhere, there's a little bit of dare going into that. But it's not something that's just like on the, you know, it's there. I think it's something that's there in your work for me and my magic, but it's not something that I actually, you know,
Uh-huh.
I don't sit down and think like to do a working and think about those four pillars and do that, but I can point to things in my
Mm-hmm.
practice and what I do that cover those. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good explanation or not, but
Well, you're sharing how you learned about them, and they are important to me. They are important. I was just doing some work earlier today, and I was actually thinking about each of these because the idea of this is, well, what do I know about this? What am I willing to do? What's got my passion going? Am I going to take the leap to do that, and how emotionally invested in it? And then I'm to keep silent. So, I mean, we can talk a little bit more about each of these because each of these four are extremely important.
I have a
Um,
little. I can read something about each one if we want to go through them one by one,
yeah.
and then
Give me
maybe
just a
that could be a conversation, a jumping off point for us to talk about how we think about this.
Sure. Oh, sure. Yeah. And for me, I remember because I was spending a lot of time um thinking and practicing and trying to put physical aspects to my spirituality. And I learned about them um they were in a book, not a huge chapter or anything like that, but I remember actually, it was a good point for me where I actually was sitting at home and I was trying to relate, okay, which of these four are associated with, which of the four are associated with each direction? And, so I had actually had a consultation with my high priestess, and she was like, she was glad to hear my thought process with them. So, and I think it's extremely helpful. So I've learned about them through practice because I can tell when I don't. It, it, Loose lips don't help with the magic. They don't, and I always am concerned if because I like that ability, that silence after doing. It's like silence after a ritual is a very important thing. It's part of the work.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the working. So okay. Lori tries life popped in. Steven said, I keep chewing on 5 versus 4 elements, and I am currently of the view of 4. The element of each of spirit is contained in the aces of each element in suit. Yes, I agree with you. That's well said.
That is.
Um,
Oh, I don't have my ring on. My. Uh, I see. I that's pretty much how I see it too. Like the four elements together create the sort of fifth element of spirit, or that fifth element permeates all four. Um,
uh-huh.
so my physical representation of that is always a cross, but the fifth element for me is like the circle around the cross, or just the whole thing
Right.
like itself. Um,
Sure.
Pentagram, of course, can also represent the
Right.
fifth element too.
Yeah. Jonathan remembers the magic spelling being a big thing in the 90s.
Yeah,
Tony
it was
said,
confusing.
I unconsciously greet 5 elements daily: Father, Sky, Mother Earth, Luna, Soul, and Ancestors. Oh, I like that. I mean, hi, Kim. And Beth said, silence is part of what is sacred about it to me. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I completely understand that. So, but yeah. So, um, I think what I'm going to do, Chris, is this. I'm going to go through this question, and then I think the last one we can sort of read a little bit more because I
Okay.
also have some reading to do.
Yeah.
How do you apply these to your practice? If say a little bit more about that.
Um, the short answer is I don't really. Kind of what I just described earlier. It's not something that's on my mind consciously when I'm designing ritual or a spell or working or whatever I'm doing. Um, but uh, yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't really incorporate them into my practice, but I can see where they are applied in practice, if that makes sense. The silence part, though, that is one that I very much take to heart
Mm-hmm.
for just good magic practices in general. And there's a couple of ways to see that. One is not talking about the working that you've done, so that your attention, your obsession isn't on it. You do the work, you're done,
Right.
you let it happen the way it
Hmm.
happens. And the other is not to share what you've done with other people, because
Right.
depending on what you believe and how energy might can work, um, it can lessen the power of the working. If
Right.
people know, like, they don't agree, or that was bad, or this was that, or you should have done this, or sort of that, it can sort of weaken. And even if it's just like eating at your own mind, if they make comments about it, again, you do it, you let it go, you don't talk about it. The other thing
Right.
is talking about magic and magic practices, and sort of like, maybe in a teaching or a mentor capacity, and making sure that the person you are discussing magic with, um, should get that knowledge or not, right? I mean, anybody can pick up a
Right.
book, but there's a big difference in sitting down with someone who's practiced magic for years and learning some tips and tricks, and then going and do nasty things with, which has just happened to
Hmm.
me recently, which was when you talk
Ooh. Okay. We'll keep silent about that.
about.
Okay.
um, I don't know. This isn't an
Well,
in-depth topic for me. But it's one that I'm very interested in. And when I think about the four pillars, again, like I say, I know that that's applied to my practice. Um,
hmm yeah.
Almost like the whole good hygiene thing. Like, these are just best practices for good, good
Right.
magic.
Right. Well, and I think part of it is in a culture where practice such as this may be looked down upon and could be life-threatening in some instances. Keeping silent keeps you alive. Um, and the you can also think, there's this idea of ceremonial magic,
Hmm.
which has a lot of ceremony to it. And while somebody said to me recently, and I really like it, it's like there are mysteries, but no secrets. So it's like it's a mystery, but when you experience it, um, it's no longer a secret. It's just a mystery, and you have to experience it in your own way. So it's a rather I really like that. I think it's
Hmm.
quite helpful. And me in particular, I try to, when I slow down enough to ensure that I want to do something that is, well, anytime you're doing working, the more time you spend on it and the more prep you do, the more in depth it could be and the more powerful it can be. And that's, not to be said that, yeah, you can just go and do something really quickly and it can be differently powerful. But if you're planning and you're trying to figure out your timing and the right ingredients and you need all of these elements, it can actually be, um, for me, I slow down around the four pillars so that I can have a good foundation. So,
Hmm.
um, okay, I'm going to catch up on chat. Jonathan shared my view of the elements is very sideways since my acupuncture training also included intense study of the Eastern five elements of fire, earth, metal, water, wood. But I understand the Western elements too. And Tony wants to know, is metal the spirit element? And good guess. It does, Tony. There you go. Robin is here. Hello, Robin.
Hey, Robin.
Ben is here. Hello, Ben.
Ben's here. We can talk about his wand.
No, no. Tony said never talk about the working until you've received your lotto winnings. And me, I won't even talk about it after that because because perhaps I take it to extreme. So, oh, Tony learned something from Jonathan because she actually listened to his live. So, um, okay, okay. Okay, that means Stephen wants to add a challenge to Jonathan. That must pose additional challenge. I am challenged seeing metal and wood as elements on par with fire and water. Just my Western vantage. I need to study more Eastern esoterica. And so there's good, but and it's one of these things that good discussion. Thank you. Um, Loose lips sinks spell ships. Yes. And I think one of the great ways to learn these is by not doing one of them and then it showing up later that, well, had you paused for a minute and learned a little bit more, you could have avoided this, right? Because isn't that a great way to learn failure?
Absolutely.
So, but yeah. So, okay. So, which element do you associate with each pillar?
So I struggled a little bit with this one, just thinking about it on my own. And then, of course, when I was reading up on it a little bit this morning, there are elements already traditionally associated with each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
To know, for me, it would definitely be air. Um, silence to me is definitely earth.
Uh-huh.
It's the will and the dare for fire and water to me.
Mm-hmm.
Will, I think, is traditionally associated with fire, but to me, fire can also represent like courage, the willingness to dare. Or,
Right.
but then dare as water as an emotion is courage too. So yeah, I'm still not settled on those two. The traditional associations work fine for me, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think that really lines up with your own experience over our magic tool talk conversation is you you your tradition is much more fluid in the approach, and by fluid I just am, it's an observation, it's not right
Mhm,
nor wrong, it just is,
mhm.
and I think it works well. So
I think it's easy because there's four pillars and there's four elements. So like, well, there must be. And traditionally they were associated with elements. But yeah, like we've said, I wouldn't call it my tradition. It's just my practice. It's just like
your practice, yeah,
because I've
sure.
I've gone through different traditions and yeah. So my um I don't filter everything through my practice through elemental associations anymore. I guess
Hmm.
that would be a good way to put it. Although I do
Sure.
incorporate elemental magic into my practice, or sometimes even in my readings, card readings and stuff. But
Sure. Oh,
yeah.
I do that as well. Yeah. Yeah. So, so I associate, I, to know is the intellect or it's wind or air. To will is spirit, which is fire for me. And to dare is emotion because it's an emotional response. I'm going to dare to do that. Yes, it takes courage, which is also an emotion, and it's that beautiful blending of fire and water which creates steam. It's very, very Southwest for me, that courage, and to keep silent, which is earth or that manifestation. So
Hmm.
it's so I think it's very intriguing that way. Um,
So you
and
have the traditional sort of associations that they have. I did see
yes,
where a couple of other people switched the fire and the water as well, which is funny
uh-huh,
because usually when we're talking about elements, it's usually fire and air that gets switched around or transposed. So
right.
interesting. First time I've encountered water and fire being switched around and something like that.
But I can see, and of course, what I haven't done, and this is interesting, is I have not actually um, boiled down all of the origins of the words to see that. But so, and I actually had a friend who translated. Um, these into Latin for me, and which of course they are not readily available, so I'm not sure why I talked about that. Sorry.
And I've got the Latin words and the little blurbs that I have for each one. So
Ooh, okay. So
I will slaughter those words. I promise you.
you will slaughter them. Okay. So
I did have
so
one.
in
Oh, go ahead.
yeah.
Um, if I were to create the four pillars, I would change will to desire.
Hmm.
And so one of the things I always want to change, like Crowley, Thelema's, what law is the love is the law, love under will. I want to put love under desire. For me, will almost it's very the word to me is very egoic, not egotistical, but egoic, and that makes me think of intellect and
Uh-huh.
things like that. But for me, real magic for me that comes from the heart comes from pure desire. And so
Uh-huh.
desire for me would be more important than will. Um,
Mm-hmm.
my will, I have to inform my will by getting in touch with what I actually desire. And so that for me, will and desire are the same thing, but to get to my will, I have to first connect with what is it that I really, 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 really
Sure.
want? What are my
Right.
natural desires in this situation?
Yeah. And I agree with you. I like how you said that because it's
That would very much be fire for me. So
yeah. And but it's like when you want to do any working, um having the emotional response behind it is what propels it forward,
hmm
I think.
yeah.
And if we don't limit ourselves, but we feel it, then that gives a whole lot of of power to it.
hmm
So,
hmm
but yeah, very interesting.
And I
Very
think it's some
interesting.
of the ways that I've read will being discussed in some. Like, I'm not into ceremonial magic and stuff like that, but can learn from it. Um, Getting in touch with your true will to me is almost the same as getting in touch with your truth, and it's talked about in terms like that as well. And
Hmm.
but I think if you haven't read like what they actually mean by will, you for me it seems like an intellect thing. Like I want this to happen, I'm gonna make it happen. Whereas
Right.
some people in Thelema can spend a lifetime trying to figure out what it is, what their actual will is. And to me that is
Sure.
connecting
Sure.
to your desire, natural born desires and stuff. So
Uh-huh.
interchangeable, but I like the word desire better than will. Just
Yeah.
connotations.
Yeah. No, I understand. And that's where I would say you work with what is best for you. Because if when you do that and you connect to it, um, I think it's it's powerful. Stephen said to will captures ambition and intention.
hmm
Yes,
Yeah.
well said. Well said. So, Chris, you had some stuff that you wanted to share about each of these, and perhaps
Um,
the butchering of the Latin phrases
Butchering
for
of
them.
Latin. Let the butchering of the Latin commence. So this is what a little blurb I had found for to know, and the Latin is nocere. I will spell it Noscere. That may be nocere or nocere. I don't know, but that's the Latin. To know is your intention and knowledge, and in the philosophy that's connected to the element of air, one should always strive to learn and to seek out knowledge. There's always more to learn and always room to improve. Know what you're doing always within your practice and consider everything from all angles. Make sure you are balanced in your thoughts and actions. Know yourself and your practice inside and out so that you can be effective when
Hmm.
using your magic. Study, research, practice, and internalize every part of your craft.
Uh-huh.
So, uh, I really like the part know yourself. Um, because again, I think to me that goes my magic practice the past year and a half, maybe 2 years, has been very much driven by getting in touch with those desires. And part of that is knowledge of what your desire is. So some work, you have to do some work, some internal work to really figure those things out. But also
Uh-huh.
knowledge, like uh whatever kind of magician or practitioner you are, I think this is just another one of those things that sort of comes with practice. Like you are always looking for ways to improve or change, new ideas, new techniques.
Uh-huh.
So I would almost say that's almost intrinsic to people who practice magic seriously.
Mm-hmm.
We're sort of always lifelong learners. Like we're always wanting to learn. So, I,
Right.
so some of these things almost sort of come with the job.
Well, sure. And I also think that if we are growing and expanding, our understanding and our ability to express our knowing and our understanding are extremely important, and they will grow as well. Beth asked, "Have you ever read any Nietzsche, Will to Power?"
I have not read that, but I used to teach a couple of his short stories. So, but he's not an author that I actually delved into very much in my literary career.
Okay. There's your homework, Chris.
Oh no,
Yeah, I
oh
love it.
no.
It's like, no, 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 no. Deanne said, I'm with Chris about fire and water as assigned to the pillars. I get it. I get it.
Mhm.
So, um, okay. So I did find them in Latin. See if I can actually do this off. Come on, get bigger. There you go.
Mhm. And the that first one, Skyre or Sire, I've seen twice. The one I have
Hmm.
is Noscere, so it has to be a similar word. I know there was
Hmm.
something about
Yeah.
Skyre being misspelled, but
Yeah.
yeah, those are the ones.
Definitely always learning. And Deanne said, definitely always learning and choosing or not agree. There are things I've always done and also things I've added or removed along the way. Yes, exactly. I think that's what's the beauty of it. And I think any spiritual path is most rewarding when one can grow and expand on it and adjust it while keeping true to their core principles. So.
Hmm. Hmm.
Beth said he goes into the philosophy of will versus desire in that work.
Oh, someone's telling me I need to do the homework.
Well, she's just saying, just saying, Chris.
Just saying,
Okay,
just saying.
boom. Ah, so anyhow, I mean, okay. So those of you in chat, we've got about 10 minutes left. Are you familiar with these, the four pillars of the Magus? How do you use them? Talk to us. Share your experience with them. I actually think. Okay, I'm going to stop and I'm going to pause because some chat came up. Oh, Beth is like, sorry, I'm a Virgo. So yeah, got to do the homework. LOL. 444, and each of us is on our own path. We must follow our own intuitive callings. Yes, I agree. So I agree. But yeah. Um, so yeah, this is great.
You want to do the to dare blurb?
Yes, let's do the to dare verb. Go for it.
The to dare, and it's Audere. Do you want to take a stab at that? All dare.
No,
It sounds like it's related to audacity, which makes sense to dare.
that makes sense.
Um,
Yes.
to dare is to do magic and to follow it up with action. And in the philosophy, it's connected to the element of water. Dare to practice
Uh-huh.
your craft and to push past all limitations you come up against. Your emotional and mental aspects must push to help you and your practice courageously so you can accomplish
Mm-hmm.
anything you desire. To dare is to put your will into action or to put your desire into action.
Okay. Okay. I like that. Tony said yes, familiar. They seem to be more Wicca based as old craft. I don't use them, she said. And Stephen said
They,
Book of.
sorry,
Go ahead.
it entered into Wicca practice, at least by the 70s, maybe earlier than that, but it was not a Wicca, not Wicca based. It was Eliphas Levi in late 1800s who first
Right.
first coined those
Right.
terms. But yeah, it was definitely very much incorporated into Wicca by at least the 70s.
Sure.
I think. Again,
Yeah.
and I learned about it as the Witch's Pyramid when I learned it. So.
Stephen shared the Book of Thoth reference on this topic on page 277, so that's helpful. Robin is double dog daring ya. So having a better understanding of this could add layers to a tarot reading. It's intriguing. Well, we talked about this, didn't we, a little bit? You know, using these in with tarot as well. So yeah. So, but yeah. All right.
If you relate them to the elements, then there you go. You've already got.
Oh yeah.
You've got
Yep.
got them built in the 4 suits already.
Yep. Exactly.
To dare to me is really important. But again, I don't like start out a practice or something I'm going to do and think, oh, this is the to dare part. But I think it's important to push yourself within safe limitations. Like there's some stuff you're not prepared for in your younger practice that you may be more mature and ready to handle.
Right.
But I think to do magic, you're already daring to change or work with and co-create with the universe. I mean, that's a pretty bold thing to even attempt to do. That's daring. But I think also to me, like daring to go into places of shadow, to go to places that you need to heal, to do things that bring you outside your comfort zone. And I wouldn't necessarily call them risks, but the more you dare, the more rewards or the more understanding, the more knowledge you can gain about yourself in the world and what you can do.
Yep.
You know,
you got it. You got it. Stephen also said, not a magical practitioner, but I use them as a way to better apprehending the elements or suits of tarot. And there's references of this in this book, The Tarot of the Spirit, Pamela Aikens. So
is that
it's a balance of.
Is that like a study of the Thoth system?
It is not. It's
not.
more of an esoteric. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Daring conjures up images of courage, e.g., the courage to love. Yes. All right. You want to talk about the will?
The will, which is Vele, Velle. To will is your power to manifest, and in the philosophy, it's connected to the element of fire. Bring together all aspects of your being to direct them toward your goal. To me, that's when you get in touch with your desire. That's what you're doing. All elements of your being. Your will is directly correlated to your manifestation and your energy, focus, and discipline that you put into it to make your desire and reality. You cannot just do, you must put yourself into your practice. Your will is what manifests changes and is present within everything you put forth to manifest your desire in your working. It's not enough to merely have a strong intention if the practitioner is not willing to follow through on it. Exactly. So the idea of discipline and focus, I think, is really good for will to manifest your desire. To me, I get to the discipline and focus when I get to my desire, because that's the passion that propels me to learn this, to go do that, to follow through. If I don't have that strong emotional connection, I'm not going to have any will to follow through with anything anyway. Yeah. So
Pepper Jackie would like to know your source. English instructor.
Oh gosh, it is just something I found randomly on the internet. Wolf of antimonyoccultism.com.
Okay.
It was just one of the first succinct things I came across this morning when I was trying to find stuff on that.
Okay. And how about to keep silent?
To keep silent. To keep silent. Tacere or tacere, Tacere. To keep silent is to not speak about the working and to not interrupt it by focusing too much on it after the working is done. It's connected to the element of earth. This is not a call for you to hide your practice, but it is to help inspire you to keep privacy so you can avoid your magic being dispelled from people knowing about it, helping you not to focus on your spell after it's been cast and to give you an opportunity to hear divinity in the silence. All of this can be achieved by keeping silent about what you are doing and your working while it is still doing its work. It will keep one's focus clear on their manifestation and will let the spell take its course.
Yes.
So we sort of talked about that too.
Yeah.
And the to keep silent part to me is not talking about these things with people that you just like, I don't know. I guess if we were in a Harry Potter world, we'd be talking about muggles or people who may use magic in not nice ways, which again, that's just happened to me. So I learned two lessons in silence from that.
Yeah. And I will actually push back on you is not in the right way, but in a way that is not perhaps lined up with the way you feel. So I'm respectfully pushing back a little, Chris.
Explain what you mean by that.
So some people believe they know and they believe that what they're doing is the right thing, where you may not agree with them. So there's a different take on it. And I think anytime that we can put up a structure to help us slow down and understand the impact of what we do, the better it is for us in the long run, and it reduces collateral damage.
Good way.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Collateral damage is a big thing for me because I don't want people who are not involved to be negatively impacted. So, okay. So there were a couple of things. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Are you okay? I didn't piss you off, did I?
No.
Okay.
I feel like I may have missaid something, though. So that's why I was asking.
No, and that's perfect, Chris, because that's actually what this is all a conversation about. Is we get to know each other a little bit better, right? So, for me, the will is to know unconditionally a thing has been done. I will a thing into being. And Stephen said, I see that idea of will very present in the first 5 of the RWS wand cards. And I love the idea of is that the wands contain all of the the aces contain all of these principles. So in my mind, when I see an ace, I think of one of these. It's like, okay, what's the maximum you could do with that? So Pepper Jackie said, silence is golden, duct tape is silver. Oh my gosh. So, and Robin said, Dare, wasn't Virginia Dare in the Roanoke colonist who magically and mysteriously disappeared? Perhaps she dared a step too far. And I am not familiar with that. So, speaking sweet words is hard, but not impossible. Magus, member of an ancient Persian clan specializing in cultic activities. The name of is the Latinized form of Magoi, the ancient Greek translation of the Iranian original. Thank you, Britannica. Love that. You know what, Joe? I'm glad you're here because that is extremely helpful. And it brings me to another point, and Chris, this will be our last point because I know we want to finish up. Go find information go search information, pull out all of your books, pay attention to it, and figure out what you agree with and what you understand. And if you don't understand something, push yourself a little bit more. And I mean, yeah, and I've been since this was scheduled, Chris, I've been periodically going in. Um, Chris is like, Gerald, are you straining your eyes? I am straining my eyes because I don't have my screen quite right. Sorry. So, but look for information and find conflicting information and see what relates and what doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So
it's like when I try a new recipe. I have cooking skills, so I will, just like a person has magic skills, but you want to do something new. So I pull up a whole bunch of different recipes, look at the ingredients, and pick from those ingredients the things I know will
Yep.
will make a good dish for me.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what my problem is with that, Chris? I don't actually write down what I've used and what I've done.
Oh, I never do. I never do. Even if I make the same dish, I'll never make the same dish twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. So was it a lot Alphaeus Levi that thought Magi were the carriers of the magical tradition and introduced it in his book Transcendental Magic? Yes, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much his take on he says the four pillars came from them, but as far as I know, the only time they've been in print and discussed was when he wrote them, discussed them in the 1800s.
Yeah. Robin asks, speech and sound are so related to magic in the form of chants. Do they relate to one or more of the pillars, or do they come somewhere after the fact?
It
Ooh.
depends on the working that you're doing, but an important thing for me as a magician, just in my regular mundane life, is not to lie. I guess that could sort of go in the silence. Like, as a magician, when you speak or when you do a spell, whatever it is, when you speak aloud, you are voicing reality. It's like when God
Mm-hmm.
spoke and made creation. So if in your regular life you're not saying the truth, then why would you be speaking truth when you're doing magic if you're not able to speak truth? So I don't know if that answers your question, but it depends on if you're using speech and sound in your in your working for that answer. But
I think that's a
story.
really interesting question. And I think I am remember something my high priestess told me, which was the phrase "om" actually has 4 syllables, and the last one is the silence afterwards.
I have heard that. Yeah.
And I that's one of those things. It's like, gee, and I've been spending some time investigating Buddhism and Zen practices, and sometimes in the quiet or the silence is when clarity happens. So
Being able to shut up long enough to listen and observe. I was
yeah.
2 lessons in silence. A guy I had met recently a while back for a month. We talked about magic and stuff for a month. I actually taught him a lot. And then we had a major falling out, and I haven't spoken to him since or communicated to him. To me, that's a way of protection magic. Not engaging, even when I've seen him out, and oh boy, he's tried. But the last time he sat next to me, again, did not speak. I kept to my silence. I know my allies and my ancestors are with me, and
Uh-huh.
I just let him ramble. He just rambled and rambled and
Right.
rambled, and basically told me he was doing curses and hexes and childish bullshit that I then had to do a binding spell for. But Yeah, so keeping silence and learning things and letting people hang themselves with their own rope.
Well, and that's an important thing. It's yeah, it's an important thing. Joey Luna stopped by to say hello. Hello, Joey. Rosemary said currently reading the doctrinal basis for transcendental magic.
Wow.
Okay. And this was an interesting. I think. Oh, and Stephen said I always felt there was a connection between Om and I cannot pronounce that word. And
Yahweh.
is that the unpronounceable word?
Yahweh. Or
Yeah.
Yehovah.
Okay.
Yehovah. Hey, it's the
So,
and
but yeah. Hi, Sheila, and we all hear Chris's cat going
I was about to
crazy.
say you probably hear my crazy cat. she has not learned the value of silence.
Oh, she's a cat, or they're a cat. So anyhow, thanks everybody for joining me. We are talking about another hashtag Magic Tool Talk. Like and subscribe. Chris, what do you got coming up on your channel?
I have no idea. I probably just need to do some VRs and have some fun and just get back into it.
I completely support that. And because seriously, VRs are a wonderful, wonderful way to meet more people and to get to hear what they're doing. So the 4 sounds of Om and the 4 letters of in the name of God. Ah, there you go. Okay. So speaking of a VR tonight, Jen and I and Jen, Jamie, and I are doing a VR to the 7 deadly decks for deadly sins on this channel tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. So, thank you, Stephen. I am so glad you're here. You added a lot,
Yeah.
and it was great. And I'd love for you to continue to join in that conversation. It's wonderful. So,
Mhm.
yes,
And
VRs are wonderful.
don't forget you can do a hashtag tool talk anytime anybody wants to and carry on the conversation. I don't know
There
that
you go, people.
anyone's taken us up on that challenge yet.
They have not. They have not. But in probably the first quarter of 2022, there will be a Wandathon. So we'll be doing that. You're welcome, Stephen. Glad to have you here. So everybody, I know Jonathan went live 3 minutes ago, so
You've got to get to that.
we will say adieu and take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.